What's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be creating this poster entirely from scratch. I'm recording this intro before I actually make the poster, so I have no idea what I'm going to be making. Kind of makes it more exciting. Let's get started. Okay, so I found this really cool picture on Unsplash, and I thought it would be really cool for maybe like a shoegaze poster or something like that. And I promise I'm going to do a lot more than just shoegaze related stuff. This is just something that I came across while I was looking for another project, and I just thought it was really cool. And so I'm going to try a few things here that I've been learning about over the last couple of days, working with like some different type of blur effects and things like that. So the first thing I'm doing here is I'm cropping this to 18 by 24 size, and I like this particular cropping right here, so I think I'll leave it just like that. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the background layer, just so that I always have a copy of the original image. So I'm going to go in here to the blur gallery, and it doesn't really matter which one you click on because it'll all take you to the same place here. But what you can do is you can apply different types of blurs to the same image here. And I think what I'll do is I think I'll try a spin blur, and maybe I will just kind of play around with this a little bit. I don't really have a specific goal or vision in mind or anything like that. So really this is just playing, and playing is a lot of fun in Photoshop. So I definitely want to be able to still see the girl and everything like that. So let's adjust. Let's see here. Okay, I like this a lot. Maybe around like 12 or something like that. And let's just enlarge that whole area right there. And okay, this is pretty cool. So I like this a lot. I think I'll take it down just a smidge, maybe down to like 8 or something like that, because I still want it to be, I want it to be obvious. Well, maybe not obvious, but I want you to be able to look at the image and be like, oh, what is that? Oh, it kind of looks like a girl like throwing her hair back. You know, that's definitely the kind of the goal that I'm going for. Like, the vibe that I'm going for is kind of like Slow Dive's cover of Just for a Day. And then what we'll do is we'll just kind of fill in the rest of those, fill in the rest of the image with a nice blur as well, just so everything matches. Okay, and I'm going to click on high quality right here because I obviously want this to be high quality, and hit OK. Since we're dealing with 18 by 24 at full resolution, it's going to take a second, so I'm going to let it do its thing. All right, and we're finally back. That took almost a full minute for that to render. So, it's a bit ridiculous, but if you want high quality, then you got to let the computer do its thing. And let's go ahead and proceed. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to duplicate the background layer again and put it on top. And I'm going to go with a heavy blur, something like a Gaussian blur, something like this. Maybe 50 pixels, and then we'll set this to color dodge, so that way it really brings out some of that brightness. You know, it starts to really bring in some of that ethereal type of glowing effect that I'm going for here. And I actually already have an idea of who I want this to be for, like regarding what band. So if you're into shoegaze at all, or even if you're not, it's definitely a good band to check out. Check out the band Deserta. They came out with an amazing album at the start of 2020, and they are about to come out with a new one actually, it's going to be toward the end of this month is when it'll be released. So this is the album cover as it stands right now, and what it is, it's got these really cool like kind of lighthouse beachy type of vibe to it, with really heavy grain added on top of it, and all of the singles have had that as well. So I think that I'm gonna try to mimic that. I mean, like maybe not exactly, but I'm just gonna, you know, try to get pretty close to it. Maybe I'll add in a couple of textures on top of it as well. But I think that soft light is going to be the way to go on this, or I may go with overlay. But let me see what the rest of them are. Color dodge is really cool. That's a cool one right there. However, it kind of drowns out that grain a little bit too much for me. So I think that overlay or soft light is going to be the way to go. Let's see what else. Usually divide will give us some good results, although I think that it's brightening it a little bit too much. So I think I'm going to go with soft light. I think that's a really good middle ground there. So let's go ahead and get to 100% view. Okay, so I would like to, let's see, let's take the one where we have the spin blur. Let's make sure that that's the right one. Yeah, make sure that we have the spin blur one. And let's bring this up on top. Also set this to color dodge. And I'm thinking of doing maybe like a rotation type of thing, you know, just to kind of keep that spin going. That's interesting right there. I like that. Okay, so 20 degrees there. And then I will duplicate that and do 20 degrees again. Okay. So I think that's really cool. Now we have this issue right here where we have these, you know, these obvious diagonal lines where it's obvious that it's been rotated. So go in here with your erase tool. Let's just do that, and we'll get rid of some of these lines. Oops. Looks like I'm trying to erase in the wrong area. So let me click on this layer. That should do it. There we go. Okay. And then we can use some different blending tools to kind of blend all that together if we need to. So I'll take my flow down to about 20% and enlarge the brush, and just, you know, just kind of go through this area right here where we make sure that we're not leaving any of those diagonal lines there. And we'll do the same thing with this layer on top to make sure that everything is blended together nicely. And now we'll go to the bottom here. This is a really hard line, so we got to make sure that we get rid of that. I'll go in and get rid of this one as well, and then go in here and get rid of these. Okay, so we have a nice blended look of everything going together here. And I'm thinking, so this is where we're sitting at 100% view. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to slightly adjust the color just a little bit. I think I may go overall with it. I'd like it to be a little bit more on the red side because, just because. I don't really have a particular reason why. I may take the saturation down just a little bit, maybe by -10, and then don't want to increase the brightness, I don't think. I think I'm happy with the brightness. Okay. Let's go into curves and see if we can maybe decrease the contrast a little bit. I want to see if, there we go. Okay, I think that that's looking good, although it's looking a little bit too much like a posterized effect. So you definitely want to be careful when you're working with the curves tool to make sure you don't leave a posterized effect unless you're going for that. Okay, I'm actually pretty happy with that. And I was talking earlier about grabbing some patterns or like a texture to go over this. So let's go check that out. So here's my design resources folder. And I am going to go through and look at, I've got some aged paper, ones that I like to use a lot as an overlay. Although there's one particular one that I'm looking for here, and I don't know if it's in this folder. This one's pretty cool. I think I may try this one. And you can always double up on them. Just keep on stacking ones on top of each other. It gives them, especially since we have a lot of heavy grain here. We've got a really interesting effect going on. So I'm going to rotate this. And one of the things that I do, I used to desaturate my textures before applying the blending modes, mainly because I didn't want those colors to show through. Although what I do now is I always make sure that I try it before I desaturate, because I may like the look of that better. And the way that I go about desaturating, you want to make sure that you can actually get it back. So this multiply is interesting right here. I think I want to look at the whole thing. Yeah. Let's see, darker color. One of my favorite things about Photoshop is the blending modes, definitely. Okay, this is cool. I like this because it really, really brings out some of those darker tones. So we'll see. Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. I like that as well. Let's go to divide and see what divide has to offer. I think this may be my favorite. Okay, so let's desaturate and see what that looks like. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it. I think I'm actually going to leave the color in there because I really like how it's applying the color to the rest of the image. So we'll go in here and do this. Okay. All right. So I think that it's time to apply the type. And let's look at... Okay, so the name of the album is Every Moment, Everything You Need by Deserta. And I'm not going to use the same type as they use. I'm going to try something different. Okay, definitely not that font. I was using that for a different project. Let's see here. There's one that I used recently for another project, and I really liked how it turned out. Give me just a second. I'm going to find the font. Okay, so I found the font that I want to use, and the name of this one is called Soap. It's very similar to Cooper Black. So let's do this. I'm going to, I think I'll keep it at 200. I like that size. And I will set, I'll maybe do something like this. And then I'll bring in, what I'd like to do is I'd like for all of them to be touching or nearly touching. So we'll adjust the kerning here. And then what we'll do is we'll apply just some nice minimal type of effects to it. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to, since I have this exactly the way that I want it, I'm gonna go ahead and rasterize it. And before I rasterize, I'm gonna choose a color. So maybe something like this, maybe like a, like a near white, but still keeping it within this particular color spectrum, because I want those effects to also apply to the text. So let's rasterize the type, and let's put it underneath our texture layer right here. And one of the ways that we're gonna make sure that the text blends right into the artwork is I'm going to apply a Gaussian blur to it. Not that much though. Maybe something like 1 or 2, or maybe 1.5. Okay, and this really kind of helps to add to that, very vintage type of feel. Okay, so I like that right there, and then we will cycle through some blending modes so that it will, so that part of that artwork will actually show through the text. And some of these are really cool. I think what I might do is I may do pen light. Pen light is a good one. Overlay is interesting, but what you want to do is you want to double up on it, or maybe even triple up. Okay, so I like this a lot. So grab all those, put those in a group. And as you can see on the album cover right here, so everything is very like orangish, so it's got this really interesting kind of like reverse L shape design on the cover. So I think I'm gonna do that. I think it would look really cool on this. So let's do that. And I'm using my shape tool to do this. Take the stroke off. And let's unlock these really quick so I can get my sizing exactly right. Okay. All right, so make a copy of this, rotate this. Okay, so make sure that they're both lined up exactly. Now I'm gonna combine them together, rasterize the layer, and we'll do a color overlay. Maybe like kind of around the same color. It doesn't have to be exact. That's good. Okay, so now we will rasterize the layer type. And we'll see, what did we do here? I think we did overlay. So let's do overlay here. This is kind of cutting into her neck, so I'm gonna turn this around. There we go. And kind of bring it maybe right there in line with that. And then we'll put the name, every moment, everything you need. And let's bring that down dramatically. Okay. And I want to make sure, see, every moment, everything you need. So every moment, comma, everything you need. Okay, good. All right, so we're good there. And looks like it is already that same color, so that's good. And let's rasterize this. Apply our Gaussian blur. And I'll do maybe 1 simply because the text is so small. And then we'll match this up as well and triple up on it. And then I'll go in and just kind of adjust it to make sure that it is right aligned with that text. Okay, I like that. All right, let's zoom it out. So this is the final poster for Deserta, every moment, everything you need. Well, I'm really happy with how that entire poster turned out. I haven't heard the album yet because it hasn't been released yet, but I can already tell from what I've heard that I'm just gonna love it. So I think I might actually get this printed and maybe put up in my office or in the garage or somewhere, wherever my wife approves. Thank you so much for watching today. If you like this, please hit that like and subscribe button down below. It'll keep more videos like this coming directly to you. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.